Like you, that was the one day that I was yeah, yeah, it's not like private games. It was yeah, it was in the beginning of the month. How much Hi, Laura. You are different. You have different types. Oh, wait. I love that
What are you dressing up? Oh. Yeah. I almost. Wait, we do guys. I call to work. He's reviewing your agenda. We are on the streaming meeting. He's reviewing your agenda while Chloe does
Paoli Westcott. Here. Matthew Roberts. Here. Constantino Stefanovic.
Here.
Christopher Landon.
Here.
Jack Hardy. Ethan Hayes.
Here.
Will Black. Alexander Malios. Daniel Lyons.
Here.
Lucas Afal. Scott Dillon.
Here.
Nick Colombo. Sarah Harrison. Joseph Bonilla.
Here.
Angela Hayes. Justin Wall.
Here.
Jack Roy.
Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Now, if you've read the report, and hello, everyone. Spring break was pretty long. Our guest speaker tonight is Bill Connor from Dining Services. That's what they've been up to in the department. So if he's ready, 1 second. I'll go through my report first, and then we'll do it. So I just have a few quick items. First, as I sent an email out to SGA, but President Thompson did inform Chloe and I that the university was not moving forward with housing families on campus. I know there was a divide on the topic, but I want to thank everyone for having respectful conversations about it. I also wanted to mention that I know a few people have asked me about the reasoning why, and I'll make sure I ask President Thompson at our next meeting. Regarding elections for SGA, if you have any questions about the responsibilities of the president or just any executive or legislative position in general, please reach out to me. And as for the rest of the exec board, they also want to say you can reach out to them as well about their individual positions. But yeah, and then just a quick update on who our guest speakers are in the future. Next week, we're going to have John Zacco discuss residential life and housing selection for the fall. And then on April 18th, State Senator John Felix will be at our meeting. So that's going to be a Just Vote meeting. I'm also going to be inviting President Thompson if she's able to make it. And then two more things. There's an Accepted Students Day this Thursday from 11:30 to 1:30. If you're able to stop by our table to help welcome new students, that'd be great. I believe we're still right outside here. Oh, no, we're in Ely Campus Center. So we're upstairs on the first floor. So yeah, stop by, and I hope to see you all in Alpha. All I got.
Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, thank you.
If Bill's ready, I'd like to welcome up Bill Connor from Dining Services.
You have a slide deck. I can send it to you.
No. It should be working. Obviously not. Can you press on the other HDMI?
Yeah. Is it a different remote?
It's not a remote.
Well, that's fine.
That's okay, no worries. I just got done with an hour-long wine lecture. We can make this work. So a couple things that we want to have a conversation about is I've heard that you have a lot of feedback for us. I heard that there's been some frustrations. I've heard that you're not happy with dining. I've heard that you're not doing well. I heard that you feel like we give you the same excuse all the time. I heard that you don't think we're listening. I've heard a lot of things. And please know that if that is the case, I want you to tell me the truth. This is a really safe space. I'm not going to attack. I'm not being judgmental. If I'm not doing what you need me to do, then shame on me because you are my boss, right? So I want to have a conversation around where we're going and what we're doing and feedback. We get inundated with people giving us information on it, right? So some of the challenges that we run into is being able to decipher that information to be able to determine how much of it is actionable and things that we should change, and how much is it one person. If someone comes in and says they want gravy on every meat we serve, that's their personal opinion, but not the opinion of the class or the body of students in which the dining program is here to serve. So some of the things that we have to separate out is what are my personal preferences and what are my personal feelings versus what are the feelings of the students and the student body that I represent, and how do we decipher what is our personal opinion versus what is the want, the will, and the desire of the class of students that make up Westfield State. So I think some of the things that we need to look at is that feedback model. We all have an opinion. I go out to get a steak at dinner. I might pick up some A1 sauce. I may pick up Heinz 57. I may like salt and pepper. I may like butter and mushrooms on my steak. We all get to pick and personalize and choose how we want. And we hope you would do much the same in the dining commons. So we met with food committee right before break. And one of the things I want to share with you is we're happy to take feedback and we're happy to take suggestions. But one of the key things for us is that they've got to be actionable and they've got to be something that we're able to make some changes based upon, right? So when people complain that the food is cold, I'm not happy the food is cold, but was there a particular night? Was there a particular station? Is it habitually at the same place? Is that a particular problem that you see frequently? Some of those details are really important for us to be able to solve the problem. One of my campaigns to share with you is the question of who did you tell, right? Food committee taking on a whole pile of complaints is great. That's their role, and my role is to work with them to find solutions. But we need to make sure that we're taking action at the appropriate time. If you come in the dining hall and there's no ketchup, waiting to tell food committee a week later isn't going to solve the problem for you or the colleagues that you work with or someone else that's coming up that night, right? If you just let a supervisor know or another dining employee know, we can fix that not only for you, but for everyone else that's going to come in after you that we don't want to inconvenience or particularly have a problem with. So in the DC specifically, and we're working on the other retail locations, is our supervisors put a picture of themselves up with their name next to the chef's table in the DC every day. And on certain days, there are two because they overlap. So those individuals serve as our primary basis of contact for you at any given time. You should feel comfortable going up to that person with any complaint, concern, or criticism, or positive suggestion feedback that's going to help us make the dining program better for you. If that doesn't work and you don't feel comfortable with that, we do have a text and tell program that you can text us and we get that feedback. Many, if not all of you, have my personal cell phone number. You can text or call or let me know if there's going to be a problem. And you can shoot us a text. I actually have two phone numbers that you can text me on. So I want you to feel comfortable in the ability to provide feedback. Some negative things about your generation are that, sometimes people call you keyboard warriors. You're happy to make complaints and you're happy to provide feedback as long as it's anonymous and you can't be tied to it, right? But that sort of feedback isn't always necessarily the most helpful or one that we're able to take the most action on to actually make change, right? If everyone keeps saying, I hate the color of Ely, I don't go there, well, what can we do about that? If you hate the purple carpet, and how do we fix that, right? Like, you need to be able to provide things that are helpful and supportive with us to be able to do that. So our goal is you leave the DC happy every day, in every retail location happy day. And if that didn't happen, then shame on us, and I apologize, we didn't do anything about it. But if you left unhappy and we tried to fix it, that's worse for us than it is for you. But if you didn't say anything and you left unhappy, shame on you, because you never gave us the opportunity to make your day better. And that's our goal. I'm going to be honest with you. Maria's in the back. Maria's the dining hall manager. Sarah's in the back. She does retail and residential operations. we on average work 60+ hours a week to make sure that you have a great dining experience and that we're taking care of all of your needs. I'm not going to say that, probably the colleagues in this room work exactly the same way. But we do put we put all of our passion into making sure that you have a good experience outside the classroom. And if we're not hitting that mark, that's one thing. But if you're not telling us how we can improve that, that's another. A couple things that we can have a conversation around have been some of the general feedback and notes that we've been making about the spring. One of which was late night. So taking the feedback from last food committee, we are going to expand meal exchange to be, instead of 8 to 9, 8 to 10. And that's going to go instantaneous, and that should have already happened. So meal exchange in the bistro for late night will be 8 to 10, right? And if you look at the GET app, it lists all of the entrees that are available for you to choose from for late night. It's salads and sandwiches and hoagies and bowls, and we even added an Al Happy Meal now, which is kind of like a McDonald's Happy Meal and you get a toy in it. So we wanted to provide you some fun options so that you can have an experience in the dining hall that's pretty enjoyable for late night. So, people add in, we want more healthy options at late night. The question is, well, what healthy options would you like to see, right? Unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball, and if I did, I probably wouldn't work here. But if I knew what you were looking for, that would be helpful. One of the things that I like to say that the dining program touches itself on is we're your dining program. If the bistro is not the place you want late night and you want late night in the DC next year, we can do that. We switched late night to be in the DC this semester because students felt more comfortable having late night in the bistro. They felt more comfortable with the menu that was being chosen. They felt more comfortable going there when maybe they were a little bit more inebriated than they should be. There was, the concession was made, we switched to the bistro and provided more options, right? Is that wrong? Maybe. Does every generation that comes to the university different? 100%. The bad part is we're planning now for next fall, right? So if there are dynamic, drastic changes that you'd like to have us do for the meal plan for next fall, we need to know now. We've presented our budget to you. It's not too late to make minor changes, but I need to know what you want for the fall. And we're not often that forward thinking in terms of where we're going to be going. So just consider through that. We also did add sandwich and burger toppings. So there's lettuce, tomato, and pickles out, and onions every night. Kind of top your own. So if you've ever been to like Moe's and you go and get your own sauces and things. So we put out 4 toppings for folks who ask for toppings on their burgers because folks wanted more options. So if you look at the grab and go cooler on the Scanlon side of the building, there's a pan of each of those condiments out so that folks can have an opportunity for that. We added in the custom smoothie options so folks are able to choose through that. Every night there are 2 bowl options. I think this week is an Asian bowl and a mashed potato bowl. And then there are other nightly specials. So we're doing a meatball hoagie and then a rotating hoagie every night as well. And kind of working through that piece. And then, we got a lot of feedback about switching to GET. And I have to be honest with you, we had a lot of challenges this semester at the very start, having a cash register and people, buying their food before they consume it. We had a tremendous amount of theft. If you ask any of our student employees, they were receiving poor treatment because students were asking them to pay for their food before they eat it, and they were getting called nasty names. We were losing a tremendous amount of product for people eating it, throwing away the container, and not actually paying for the food. People blatantly filling their book bags with whole containers full of chips or pretzels or things of that nature. And, I've shared some of that, and Shannon and Maggie were aware of that issue. And one of the challenges we had to decide was how do we curb that, right? And so we curbed that by making everyone consume their food before or consume their food after they paid with the GET app. So is it ideal? No. But I'm looking out for your money as well, because if we continue to have high levels of that, then we have to start cutting somewhere, because that's eating into, your portion of the meal plan that someone else is taking that they shouldn't. We are seeing, the ability to put out food faster. We've gotten feedback that your food is missing. I have talked to every supervisor in the bistro for late night. If your food is missing, you just have to show them your GET ticket on your phone, and they will happily make you a new order. You may have to wait for it, but one of the challenging pieces is just like Panera or any of those other restaurants with pickup, people take the wrong order or take two orders because they're just not great people, right? You don't deserve to not have your meal because someone else stole it from you. So we're going to probably inconvenience you a little to make you a fresh order, but at the same time, you're not ever going to walk away hungry. No one should ever leave dining at a point where you still feel that you're hungry or you didn't receive the satisfaction you need when you're dining. We had a long conversation about Al Cafe. We have a lot of new drinks going on. We've added flavored lemonades. We've added flavored teas. We're looking at refreshers. We have cold brew coming up. We actually brought in cloud foam, so kind of like your foam on your cold brews. Those options are available. The rest of this month is going to be Irish cream flavored drinks, so those are going to be available. Neil has a new burger coming out the rest of the semester as well for you to enjoy. And then we're looking at other updates that are going through. We're looking at sweet options over there. We realized that in the afternoon, there aren't a lot of options. It's more breakfast sweet treats. So we're working on pulling in things like cannoli chips and dip. We're looking at pulling in, hot cinnamon rolls in the afternoon and some hot baked cookies, some other things that would be interesting for you to enjoy. Some of that takes a little bit of time. And again, we've really taken action after this last food committee to make sure that happens. In the DC, Chef Rob has introduced our third cycle menu of the year. So in the past, we've done two. We've done a fall semester and a spring semester. Now we're looking at seasonality, which is one of the reasons we transitioned dining is we have a fall menu, we have a winter menu, and we have a spring menu. So fitting that, Monday we launched being, the beginning of spring, our spring menu is launched with changes and tweaks going forward. Some of the things that he is adding is we're increasing diversity of protein. So you'll see things like flank steak, London broil, some of those other options to fill in for where there may have been too much chicken. So there'll be some of those options continuing. Maria has done a wonderful job on a sandwich special of the day at the deli. So she's coming up with an entire menu of a 2-week cycle. Sometimes it's muffalata, sometimes it's roast beef and cheddar. It's going to vary on a regular basis. Those are going to be ready to go and something you can quickly throw in your container and head out if you're still looking for to-go options. Every night we're doing a composed salad option that you can customize and build your own salad, similar to a Salad Works if you've ever been there. We wanted to give you a different option and a different change without location. We continue with our nutritionist on Wednesdays doing wellness themed projects. One of the feedbacks we received is they missed the nutritionist. We found one to work with us on a temporary basis. I think she's enjoying it here. I think we're enjoying her, and I think we're going to continue that relationship into the fall, which is going to be really important. And the nice part is she also works with counseling services. So there's a good opportunity for her to blend the two when students need support in the dining hall as well as in a clinical setting. Sushi opens on Monday. So I want to make sure you're all trying Wild Blue upstairs. Wild Blue Sushi is offering meal exchanges and a la carte sushi for you. I would say that yesterday was extremely popular, probably about $5,000 in sales in one day. They were not prepared for the popularity, not because they weren't prepared, to open. They just weren't. I guess they were shocked at how fast Westfield would pick up on fresh sushi, right? Yesterday we had a couple of hiccups. We meet with them in the morning to go through all those challenges so that we can improve and make sure it's better going forward. And if you have, we'll take feedback at the end, but when it comes down to that, I'm happy to take anything that you have for the sushi location. And then Marketplace is doing changes as well. So we're adding a hot program over there. We've expanded the Roll of Real program and some of those other features so that we can kind of to roll through with them. We need your ideas now for fall. So please share with Food Committee or myself, or email me or text me or call and let me know what you'd like to see as a drastic change for the fall so that we're able to make sure that we're up and running with those ideas. Summer is pretty busy. We have a lot going on. Sometimes our summers are harder than our school year. I often say come August, thank God the students are back because we're actually getting back into a normal routine where we can take care of you folks. So I can take questions, comments, concerns. Sarah and Maria are here to answer questions if I can't, and then they're also going to take notes so that we can share with Food Committee where we are.
Before a reminder, as Bill mentioned, we want to keep it more like bigger things, so try not to tonight. If you have any of those, you can bring them to me after this. But are there any comments, questions? Katie.
Hi.
Hi.
First, I'm gonna go to this program. We appreciate the time frame and all the years that all the.
Thank you.
So I want to start with the things. So I feel bad.
There's no blame. I'm looking for feedback.
Yeah.
There's no criticism. It's your meal plan program, it's your dining program. So if we don't know what you want, we can't do it. So please, you won't hurt my feelings. I promise.
They've had some issues that are really wrong. There's a couple of things, the biggest and probably the most important is that we have a frozen food, and we understand it's not. But their options are really limited, the emphasis is on the or getting it all together, and so it's a great alternative. But a lot of times, most of the people have infections, which would be
Yeah. Sure. Yep. Sure. No, 110%. So I can touch on a few things. So we have worked a lot with athletics. We have tried to provide options. We were assured that between the hours of 4 and 8, you weren't in practices or you weren't in physical training or any of those sort of features. So we were told by athletics that within that period, everyone had time to go and get a meal. So I would say it's news to find out that students between 4 and 8 aren't getting a dinner because we were informed that the coaches aren't permitted to have 4-hour practices or 4-hour strength trainings, that there was a limitation to that. So that's helpful to know. And I think we can reach out and continue a conversation with Nancy and Dick and see what we can do to improve that. So thank you for that feedback. I think that one of the challenges we see in the bistro is limitation to space, right? And I think that we have to play the game of, are we better served with late night meeting in the DC with more options and a salad bar and a deli and some of those other pieces? Are we better off having it in, the bistro? And I'm going to put that question on you. Would you rather have as a student government and a student representing body late night in the DC, or do you like it better in the bistro, right? So collectively as Westfield State, we make that decision, and then that's what dining executes, right? So I think, I'm happy, and I think Sarah and Maria can make a note of that, but I think it's important that we will re-engage with SGA Food Committee tomorrow, because that's a decision we have to make now going forward, right? I'd rather have the DC open where there are more options for you and be able to do takeout in the evening But you also lose out on some of your favorites, right? So like fried chicken fingers are about $1 a piece right now. So, you know, if someone comes in and eats 15 chicken fingers at late night, we aren't going to be able to continue to offer chicken fingers. So I think there's a trade-off there that we need to have an understanding about. And I think the big thing for us is we'll engage with athletics and see what we can do.
Something I forgot to mention, right, my list of other ones for anyone with a plan wants to discuss. More than happy to have it. You can sort of break up this up. There is things.
Sure.
To know as well. And then, if a representative or someone who
Gotcha.
Staff meeting, I'm sorry, I just.
Zach.
Staff.
Ethan Hayes. Kate Levin. Hi. Okay. Chris Lana.
Hi, Bill. Thank you
Hi,
for coming
yep.
down. First of all, I want to start with a really positive thing. I talked to a bunch of students yesterday at Wild Blue. They loved it. I mean, thank you so much. They thought they loved how the sushi demand on campus was filled by this. And a lot, like I've talked to some seniors and they said this was one of the best things dining has done since Evening Harvest. So thank you so much for that. That's really great. I do want to say though, I feel like, you know, you have a hard job. And I would not want your job, but a lot of students do take it out on you. And I feel bad, especially the workers too. I just will say a complaint I get a lot from students is that the food is really only good on certain days, like except Students' Day. I know I had a lot of friends in the Urban Ed program and they said the food was really good then, and now it's like, so is there something we can do to make sure that students are satisfied with food all the time? Because even like commuter students, when they have food on the weekends, the commuter students don't come here on the weekends, they don't have meal plans. Food's good on the weekends, but not a lot of people stay on the weekends. So I was just wondering if there's anything we can do to get maybe, you know, wholesome food, healthier food. That's a complaint I get a lot. Personally, I think that's a good thing myself, that having healthier food. I was just wondering what you think.
Yeah, so, you know, I open that up to a couple things. You know, one, we love you for thinking it, but we don't do anything different. On accepted student days this last time, boneless chicken wings, which are on the rotation menu every 4 weeks, was on the rotation menu for that accepted student day. The only thing we did different was Maria offered a tossed salad at the center of space. But the menu is exactly the same. You know, are there more people in the dining room? 100%, because it takes more of us to service another 400 people. So there is some difference there. Weekends, we have an opportunity to play with some new things. So we'll try new menus or new dishes because it's a smaller student population for us to serve, and we can see if students like it or not. So is there more exploration on the weekends for us? 100%. I think when it comes down to, you know, on days that they're not happy with the menu, you know, the new cycle menu is written. If you ladies remind me, I'm happy to get it for food committee tomorrow. The whole menu is up for audit. You know, you're welcome to take a look at the entire cycle menu and tell me on days that you feel like there may not be something that you enjoy, or days where it may not be as exciting or as healthy, and we can readdress that. You know, just like the budget, there are no secrets, and I'm happy to give you the ability to look at that. Remember, T-bone steaks and lobsters aren't in our, you know, $2,500 meal plan. We probably have to charge double that if we wanted to do something a bit more expensive. So keep that in the back of your head as we work through that. And then I think the other thing for me in terms of healthy is I'm happy to take those words, but I think what I need are tangible examples of things that we can do to change. So, you know, if you've been to other dining programs, if you've been to other places, I think the critical piece for me is what are those options so that we can help explore them with you and come up with some solutions.
Just to readdress, I think we talked about in the last meeting, moving food services committee to the common hour on Friday. Would that be so more students could come?
I already did it.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, it is Friday this week.
And then the signs up and
yeah.
then same grade and cash register already left.
And we put up a giant sign that says food committee meets here on Fridays. I think it's 1:40 to 2:50.
Yeah.
So yes, I got you. No, sorry, it's not. I'm trained for it to be tomorrow.
Emily Flood.
Is on some of the ingredient listing online. The two big issues I have, one, a lot of times it's inaccurate to what is actually served. So I see something and we look at the ingredients to get in it and then it's not. I know obviously, especially there are also sections that are never listed, so like the global disease, it's never an ingredient listed on it, or like the special things that we have in the middle, that we have ingredients listed on there. So I think. And I know for like the responses, I asked the person who's serving, but a lot of times it's food worker, and we're expecting to know the ingredients, and I have to make sure I'm getting that.
Sure.
So that's just something I think for a while.
Little bit both. 100%. You're right. You know, do you feel comfortable talking to one of your peers about ingredients or safety of food or what's in it? Probably not. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't probably either. You know, students are here to help fulfill a portion of the program, which is service and providing things to you. But by no means are any of you food experts like the rest of us are that actually work in dining. So you're right. I think we should ask. There are two things. Yeah. There are three. We switched to purveyors, and we're seeing some great successes with a new company called US Foods. We were with a company called PFG out of Springfield. One of the challenges that we had is all of the recipes are built with numbers from PFG Springfield. So the problem was when we adopted, and we're actually getting great savings. We actually just pulled in, between the rebates for last semester, we received a $40,000 check last week that we're reinvesting into food for the second half of the semester, which is why we can do things like London broil and some of those other higher end proteins. We're reinvesting that money that came from the rebates we worked out with those vendors to bring in more options. So one of the challenges we have is the new food company doesn't align with the old recipes, so we're unable to produce ingredients because when we print ingredient lists, the system says no ingredient available because the numbers aren't tied up. So we have acknowledged, and we know this summer, one of the projects that we need to do is essentially rebuild every recipe that's in the Italian repertoire to have it be in line with the new purveyor. I'll also say that it can be hard, you know, when we're looking at, you know, being able to buy specials or freshness or, you know, let's say bok choy is on special, you know, the ability for us to substitute a local bok choy that we can get almost instantaneous versus having, you know, potentially a frozen vegetable is there. So there needs to be a little bit of creative liberty in order for us to be able to execute what, you know, we were designed to do. And I'll be honest with you, I think the thing to keep in mind is our food is all made by individuals. And I think there can be some challenges about some of those ingredient pieces. And there are days we give our chefs creative liberty, like Saturday brunch. You know, you could walk into Salmon's Benedict, you can walk into breakfast sandwiches. Saturday morning brunches are probably some of our more fantastic brunches because of the individual that's there. And we give that person a little bit more creative freedom to be able to put out things that would not necessarily normally be menued. I think when it comes down to specific needs, I think the biggest thing is to either connect with Sarah and Maria and the dietitian. And this goes for anyone with a dietary or allergy need, because there are things that we're able to give you some general oversight and feedback on that would give you some general clearances to eat in dining. We can talk about adding in the salads and sandwiches, but they're so new, we don't even have but I appreciate that. But I think the other thing is Wednesdays when the nutritionist is in, let's connect with her and see what we can do to also help with that process. I would like to say we're going to be 100% for fall. I don't know that, but we're going to be better than we are now.
Joseph Bonilla?
Hello. I just have two quick things. So, as far as the video, I think that it's about like what we do, but specific to like vegan, you know, like I was wondering if like there were like other like fast food that like kind of going on, and obviously this is something that just specific to that like there's like a lot of and then like you know I think I've seen myself. Okay, I'm doing something else. So you know just keep that in sense. As far as like Wild and Blue, I just kind of so I know that you guys
Tomorrow morning, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering, so one of the issues that I so Excuse me, sir. My phone wasn't really, something that I, enjoyed, as well as, again,
Was it last night?
Yeah, last night. And it was next. And I was wondering if go forward with to like counteract it.
Yeah.
Waiting.
100%. You should be getting the food in the order hour in which you order it. And we had a conversation about that. Sarah, do you want to touch, or do you want to, we can give an update after tomorrow morning?
Yeah. So they have never actually done a program similar to ours. They've done like a prep hub where someone comes in, gets that with a case, and then brings it to whoever ordered it. Or they've done like had a cashier, and then the cashier rings them up, and then away you go with your food. So the way they were learning how to do it yesterday, we were working with them. It was all new to them. We had our GDP parameters set on like 20 a la carte and 20 meals, so 40 every 15 minutes, and it just kept growing. So we would shut it down a little bit, and then we would just keep growing. We could not keep up with it. You guys are amazing, everyone was really excited, but it did cause a drastic rate for an hour, which is terrible, and I'm so sorry for that. You can text me anytime. But so we are working on that today. It was much better than it was yesterday, and we anticipate tomorrow being even better. So we're working through all those little glitches that they're not really accustomed to, and then just following through it. Like we printed for them today exactly what they went through yesterday, so they could order all of these things. Because I think yesterday they ran out of shrimp dumplings at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They opened at 11, they were out by 2. So it was super popular. So they know that they have to keep up with that. And we'll keep going through that with them so that they understand what you're looking for and how you can offer it to classroom.
My expression is you never go to a new restaurant within the first 30 days as a restaurant person. Because we're working out the kinks and it's new. And so one of the interesting things is we're the newest version of what they're doing on a college environment. And Sarah can attest, they're doing some things here for the very first time they've never done before, but is now going to be their model going forward. So I wouldn't say we're a guinea pig, but we are definitely a trial that they, did they expect everyone between 6 and 8 to hit them so hard that they would go through 120, 130 rolls in an hour? Absolutely not. I didn't think you would do that. So there is some improvement, and we will see some of those for tonight, and then we'll regroup with them tomorrow. So if you have specific issues or feedback related to sushi, shoot me a text or an email, and we'll address them first thing in the morning.
Sarah Harrington.
I want to say that you could I really like the section in the middle of the DC that has the display has like the staff, I don't know if it's laptops and the activities, I think that's fun. For late night, I think moving to the DC would be a good idea. My thing would kind of seating, because I know a lot of people don't really have considered things to meet the times and like things like that. So it was nice last year, we were like sitting in DC at night and facing it up. So I think since it was first on Wednesday, we would be nice. One of my concerns is on this virtual station, which I played before. It's just for me, it's very, very long for it. We sat in there or prayers or something. We had it in just like understanding the hour cover for a long time. It really puts people off.
Right. Great, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's make a note. Yes, Maria.
Not that an extra staff number every night, Monday to Friday now. I don't necessarily think it moves along faster because you're getting a custom-made meal, so it takes time to prepare that meal correctly. However, it does give support to that staff member who's there to your model. And I'd say your survey maybe want to have some trying to get people to apply their service. So it does help. That area is really tight as well, and it's really hard to get more equipment there. Actually, have even more staff members there. But we're working on it.
Yeah, and we talked about a couple solutions. One would be, do we have less ingredients and we make a set stir fry every night? So maybe one night it's beef and broccoli, one night it's, veggie lo mein. Do we reduce the ingredients to one custom bowl a night and one meal that's already pre-made? So like, would you want, a veggie lo mein hot entree that you can help yourself, or you can get a custom one, right? We also looked at that space. I'm happy to name that center island after someone, but it's going to probably be about $750,000 to update that space. At this moment, we can maybe get 3 orders done at a time. The old joke used to be that you went to the DC in a DC coat because you left smelling like stir fry, right? Is that still the joke? Right. You wear a DC coat, right? And everyone knew that you took your DC coat and not anything else. The equipment, the equipment there, we've done a lot to improve that station, but the equipment there is outdated and no longer valid, right? We should really have like a PF Chang's and have some built-in locks there. But there are some limitations in that area. So I'm happy to canoodle that, and we will continue to canoodle that, but think about the idea and give us some feedback on, if we had one hot entree and stir fry every night that changed every day, and then we had a lesser customized menu, would that be the same? Because I think some of that is that piece. The other question I have is, would you want to saute your own food and we turn the station around and you can all do your own? Just a thought. The people at the back perked up because that excited them. You had one other comment, and what was her other feedback? Stir frying something else? So this is a pool, and you don't have to answer it tonight. And I have a Pennsylvania accent, so my pools sound like pool and everything else. So what I would say is that we need to collectively make a decision on late night. So you, as representatives of the student body, should go out and ask all of your peers, whether it's in class, in your res hall, wherever it is, would you rather see the late night DC program in the bistro, or would you rather in the DC, right? So what would it allow us to do is extend dinner from 8, and we'd have a reduced menu from 8 to 11, right? And it would be in the DC, and it'd be a different experience. You get to make that decision, not me. I want you to decide how you want that to go forward. So I would implore you to seek the feedback of your peers. And if it is the will of the peers and the will of SGA, then late night can be in the DC next fall, not an issue. I actually prefer it there. But then you lose out on some of the fried food and some of the fried features that you would see otherwise in a program in that capacity. And we could look through that and how to solve it. So yes, we're open, but please, that is a charge that you can hopefully go on and talk to your peers and see what we can do. And then we'll talk in a week and see what the decision is.
Yeah, so I just want to echo about for student athletes and for students, right? I think that's something for next year that needs to be figured out, having somewhere of different cases for students that can't go home, don't have a home, and then also, I don't think you're saying this, but the dishwasher, what's going on?
Oh, well, that's a lovely question, but go ahead with the rest of your list.
And I was just curious, I know it broke once.
Yeah.
Did it break a second?
It did.
And I was just curious, how much is that?
So hopefully nothing. So a couple things. Yes, Sarah and I actually just engaged in a conversation the other day about trying to find an opportunity for year-round dining. Aggie has asked us to explore year-round dining, and one of the biggest hurdle for us is not that there aren't people here. One of the biggest hurdles for us is cost, right? Because your current meal plan is only designed for about 115 days. So if we were to explore and offer a year-round meal plan program, we need to identify and talk about a cost, right? Is it built in? Do you buy a supplemental meal plan? How does that look? What does it look like? And how do we explore that, right? So that's the biggest piece. We've grown our staff to have some additional 52-week staff, which are all year staff that we've not had in the past. So we have already committed to when the semester ends, we will automatically shift into the bistro being open for a lunch and dinner program, so that students that are here will have an opportunity to dine over there. We've expanded our summer conference program, which will also help carry the cost for this summer. So I think we can find a price for this summer if that's the will of the folks. But I think the other thing for us is the year-round option that we can continue to explore. I think the piece that's really important for us is to have a conversation as well with Residential Life to determine, is there a capacity to take on more students year-round? Because the more students that are in a year-round program, the cheaper the cost would be for everyone else. Who needed to have that meal component piece. We had one other comment. Oh, the dishwasher. So, yes, we believe the dishwasher is under warranty. Well, we know the dishwasher is under warranty. The issue is, did we break it or was it a fault of the system? So, long story short, when the dish belt gets so much tension, the motor is supposed to shut off so that it doesn't break. The motor did not shut off and it broke, and the dish belt flew and everything came out of the dish machine. It was like a really bad children's book. It took us 2 weeks to have 2 pieces custom fabricated that fit our dish machine. Dish machines are custom. Every one is built. I can't go to the Walmart of restaurants and go buy a dish machine and put it on the truck, right? They don't exist. They're not stocked. We ordered it. It takes 6 months to prepare, and then they deliver our dish machine and our box to us. So we had to get some custom pieces done. So that's the case. There was a short delay with the carousel today. We are working with the manufacturer. There's a challenge with the pins in the top. We pulled the pin, took out the carousel that was broken, and had it up and running in a few minutes. But the carousel did have a hiccup. A couple things. One, there are hiccups in new equipment all the time, right? And because it's custom built, our dishwasher came in like 12 or 14 pieces that had to be welded and fabricated on site. So there are a lot of custom things that go into it. And the caddy is kind of new for us and new for them. That design is custom to Westfield State because of our location. So we have some hiccups. I promise you I'm doing everything I can to make sure we don't have to pay for any of those charges. I'm actually fighting with both companies to make sure that we're not bearing the cost of those. Their manufacturer defect should not be something you're paying for. Trust me, I have a rule. You're in the circle, you're out of the circle, and you don't want to be out of the circle. Yeah.
When I was thinking about Wild Blue opening last night, it's like marketing or somebody who's around what happens, how long it waits, that it's like something that have been done. Like, yeah, because there's like no upper management from what I'm saying. Like opening new locations, like help somebody. One of those
Yeah, got you. So 2 things. One, we acknowledge that. We've had more support over here during that time period today. They also didn't think it'd be popular. So the other thing we identified today is actually had less people on for dinner last night than they did for lunch. So they're stepping up their staffing for tonight, which should help with that challenge as well. So we're looking at those 2 components. And then we have been looking for more feedback. So we're stealing the idea that you do out here with the whiteboard. I'm 3 reports in on all of the feedback that we receive off of that whiteboard, and we actually look at it and analyze it. And we have, beautiful charts that tell us what you like on your pizza and you don't like on your pizza, right? And those sort of decisions are going to be what we use to formulate the menu going forward. So with the feedback today, if there are 10 I don't like pineapple on my pizza, then there's going to be less pineapple on the pizza next semester because you've spoken and shared that with us. So we are working through that, but I will talk to Maria and we'll make that note to have supervisors touch on.
Hi. This is regarding the tonight. So I think the GetApp can work. The only problem is like the lead time when the GetApp is when they're behind us, that becomes great. And I need like it becomes like every
hour then.
Yeah. From what I know, there's so many like when people are waiting for a long time, So it becomes a recycling issue. A new person steals it every time.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how to fix that issue, but it's been pretty problematic.
Nor do I. So I think the bigger, we have to solve the issue first, right? I wasn't aware that there were waits till late night in the bistro. I thought that we had resolved most of that with this program. If we're still, give us a leeway of 5 minutes, right? But if it's in excess of that, then I need to know. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text, send me a photo, whatever it is, so that yes, I can fix that. I can dispatch someone else on campus to help that program if it's underperforming, if we knew that that was a challenge, right? So I think the big thing is to just push through that, and it's really crappy you all steal from each other. I'm happy to look at that. I think the biggest thing is if there are days or nights or there's a pattern of lateness, let me know as soon as possible and I can resolve it so that it doesn't continue.
So is there
Technology competitions, actually. So our system doesn't ring in like that. And there's a challenge there. We've looked at all kinds of models, right? And I guess one of the things I'll point back to is if you decide to go to the DC next year for late night, all of these challenges go away, right? So I guess I want to hear from you all first. Do we want to keep late night in the bistro? If so, we have lots of challenges to fix. We've come a long way in 2 weeks, but we still have more challenges to fix. If we're going to go to the DC for late night next year, we have a little bit less to concern to deal with, and we'll work through those challenges. But yeah, we had Jeff was really, really bad, and I didn't know it was continuing now.
I don't think it's all of it is a diamond problem. I think culture and morale problem. If people are angry, they tend to lash out. They were more pleasant. I think same thing with staff as well. I've seen staff. And I think that so I think that really less willing to work in some ways, also when we can make people so it's maybe it's less of a diamond and more of a I don't know, basically like a collective awareness issue. Again, I think that it really is
Do you have my cell phone number? Okay, you can all have my cell phone number. My cell phone is a Baltimore area code, so it's 410-350-4270. Lots of zeros. You can text me and let me know you're having a problem. I will be honest with you, I'm old and I'm in bed by 10, but I'm also here usually by 7. So just know that if it's after 10, you may not hear from me, but I'll address it first thing in the morning. So I think that's number one. I think number two, I think you bring up a very good point about culture, right? What are we angry about? So one of the things we feel in dining is you come into the dining hall angry, and we're happy to carry the weight of your anger, right? So right or wrong, yelling at me makes you feel better. We can work through that, right? And so the culture of Karens and Kevins has kind of been something that we do, right? I think COVID has made everyone mentally ill with issues that we aren't able to manage, right? Like there's so many things that COVID has contributed, right? They have changed who we are as humans. They've changed how we feel, doctors and medications. Like we're not the same society we were 4 years ago. And those are things we have to work through. But culturally, why are Westfield State students angry? And I think that's a bigger conversation for you all to have. And if it's just dining, then yeah, I have a lot of work to do. But if you're angry about a professor or a class or an athletic event or not getting your favorite event or you're not favorite equipment in the gym, why are you angry? And how do we resolve that, right? Like it feels crappy to be angry every day. And we're right there with you. Yeah, I have staff that have cried and have left and don't want to come back because they've been treated so poorly, you know? We work through that, but we're here to help you, and we will do anything, you know, if it's in the building and you want it, if your favorite thing is chocolate marshmallow, I will find you some fluff and we will make you some chocolate marshmallow ice cream. That's our goal in life, is to make you happy. So that's our focus. I just need you to know how to do that. And now you have my cell phone, so if you have an issue, you call me and I will have the supervisor fix it. Sorry.
Liam Connor.
If you are going to contact them, please make sure you get it right and William Connor.
I opened a cookie basket from his mother and I thought that someone loved me. And then I saw mom and dad and I'm like, either dad has come back from the grave or something's going on here. And then I read it. It was me. So sadly, Liam also did not share it. But we do. I am W. Connor with no numbers. He is W. Connor.
So, kind of to go off what Sarah and Katie said about the stealing at just any place in general, are there going to be any repercussions for students who get caught doing it? Are they going to have to pay for that food they stole from someone else, or what? What's it going to be?
That depends on what Ms. Shannon Green feels like those students should be held accountable for. If we are able to identify the student, if we tell security the footage of the student that was stealing and they're able to identify the student, it's a student conduct issue and it goes to Shannon. You know, there's a student conduct and a judicial process to handle theft, and the process will work through, and you know, the outcomes will be the outcomes for that particular student. I don't know what the outcomes for theft are on campus, but I'm imagining the adjudication and sanction would be within the student code of conduct. It's very hard to catch. You all are very quiet in reporting students who are stealing. And I have asked multiple times to have access to the cameras, and I've been told no. I've also asked for a taser, but Tony won't give me.
Any further? Being none, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Score report.
Hello. So over spring break, school committee was working on the fourth progress report just sent to AUC, chaired by Tim Welsh. April, 35-page report details the projected 2024 Common Core proposal, course descriptions, and how students can collaborate with professors. There are 4 main models that SCORE has detailed out for the first year students and their transition into Westfield State. First, in the Westfield State Journey Integrative Experience, which is a 7-credit model, it contains 2 classes, the first year journey and a mental health discovery class, practice model. Mental health discovery class, which will detail self-care and how to keep physically well. The second section is the analysis and practice model. It contains a rhetoric and analysis worth 4 credits, basically being like a composition class. The remaining 3 sections would be the data and reasoning category, creative arts practice, and a dive into the natural world, which is similar to a science lab. The third section will focus on big thinking and ideas. This model includes classes ranging from mathematics, arts, humanities, and social and health sciences. The fourth section will focus on perspectives, which include social groups and cultures and civics learning, as well as power and perspectives. These are all 3 credit courses. In total, the model is roughly 41 credits in total, and additional credits will be determined by the major department. Keep in mind with the final model, which will be presented, which will be presented in December to the president, will be decided by the 2024 SCORE committee as well as the incoming VP of Academic Life. Suggested learning outcomes are projected within these 4 areas. Specifically in the perspectives model, I would like to mention that this is similar to our current diversity credits that we have now, but this is expanding on that as it will dive deeper into topics of global learning, culture and diversity, aesthetics, as well as tackle problems like racism, sexism, ableism, classism, ageism, some of which are things not discussed in most current classes. As well, focusing on systemic oppression topics and social justice. Within this model, SCORE thinks it's important to make an inclusive and diverse model while simultaneously teaching students about real-world issues and life skills. As I like to say, tonight I would like to gauge the room and test the waters to see if there's anything you want to see added or removed from this model. This is by no means a final model and is most definitely a work in progress at the moment, but all your suggestions are appreciated and will be taken into consideration.
Are there any comments? Anybody else?
I'm just curious if the other
I would hope they're being covered, but those are the 5 that was detailed in the report.
Any further? Daniel Courier?
Hi, Chris. So the common one, so the first is we are down in our budget, and we have certain classes, more actually, real funding behind it. Hopefully we talk to Steve, not just talk about finance into it. The other part is supposed to be training. I guess in terms of the classes, show them there is a budget campus. Concern as well for the professors so we can ensure that if we are teaching that class, it's not the campus and knows what's going on. It's not just about academic, it's also about progressing.
That was also what I was told, but I have heard from some professors that I've talked to that that's kind of the job of orientation leaders is to teach them like where everything is on campus, but that's why we're adding this first year journey class to get every part of campus covered, and I'm all for it. So,
Any further? Seeing none, thank you. Vice President's report of finance, Dan Curry.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the week off. Prior to break, I had the opportunity to meet with Vice President for Administration and Finance, Steve Taxar. So I just have a few things to note from that meeting. We first discussed the Parental Hall renovation project, which indicated is on track for completion actually by this fall. Select offices may be able to move in prior to the start of the semester, but no classes will be held in the building, as you can probably see from your academic folder. The next major renovation project on campus has been discussed amongst campus leadership. 2 options identified were Dower and Bates. Vice President Taxer indicated that President Thompson is currently leaning toward Bates for complete renovation. Many of you like to recognize that Bates is in complete disrepair. The institution will likely file a request for funding through DCAM, the Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance, in the near future, but given how sleek state government and higher education works, we likely won't see any shovels in the ground until at least 2028. So it's going to take some time. We turn to a conversation of the governor's proposed FY24 budget. He's pleased with many of the proposals outlined in the budget, including an expansion of financial aid and funds to address deferred maintenance, but he noted that the funding is still not enough. We have $160 million in deferred maintenance at the university. $3 million extra is not going to cut it. So we have to at least look at more opportunities. There are also still a lot of unknowns that have to be worked out through this time. Of course, the Senate and the House have to come up with their budgets as well before the budget negotiation process really begins. A communication will be going out about this soon, but Vice President Taxer let me know, and this is something you can know as well. We are switching bookstore vendors for the fall and next academic year and moving forward. There are a lot of unknowns with this, but we can be confident there will be a bookstore in the fall. We're just working on securing a new contract for the fall. There was just a lot of issues with the current contract and where we would move forward with Barnes & Noble. So we'll be with a different bookstore vendor in the fall. You'll still be able to get your merch and your books and whatnot. But in the future, after our time, he said we do have to start considering what the future of the bookstore and its location will be, because a lot of students do not order books anymore through the bookstore. So how that will work in the future. Finally, we discussed the Sustainability Committee. The Committee of Faculty, Staff, and Student Representatives appointed this past fall is now meeting and will be putting forward a request to the Finance Cabinet for a sustainability official on campus, whether that be a part-time position that's paid or a faculty member that is granted APR and has a course release. So more updates should be forthcoming. You also, in your inboxes, me frantically sending an email last week during spring break regarding the finance bylaws. There are no comments in it. I don't blame you. I would not want to read the finance bylaws over spring break either. But if you can please, by maybe next Monday, when we have finance committee again at 3:30, if you can get some comments in on that document. It is in your inbox. I can send it again if needed. But please review it and add any comments that you can. Your feedback is, of course, vital to the process, in addition to club supports. As a quick note, I'll be working with Laura this week on a form to be sent to club leaders requesting line item allocations in the next fiscal year. The budget process will begin in earnest this week, and I hope to have the preliminary budget ready for review by mid-April. But finally, I'm publicly announcing that I'm not running again for the position of Vice President for Finance. Very, very sad. It's been an honor to serve in this role, but I believe that the time is right to move on to a different position. So again, as Aaron said, you can always talk to me about the position, but if you are looking to get into this position, hopefully you have some sort of finance or accounting background, or at least have a desire to work with numbers. I know it seems very boring, but I can tell you it's not. There's also some great networking opportunities out of it, including with the foundation board of directors. So whether that be through myself or Chloe's role, which with her and the board of trustees, we work with a lot of people externally. So of course, either of our roles are very well suited if you are going into business and want to connect with other people. So if you have any questions, feel free to talk to me. And with that, this report is done.
We appreciate all your comments.
I appreciate that.
Any further? Seeing none, thank you, Dan. Foundation report, Dan.
All right, good evening, everyone. The video probably won't work, which is sad. But I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of those who attended the Note Cardathon event on Thursday, March 9th, and supported the campaign for new investments in data analytics lab here at Westfield State University. Thanks to your incredible efforts, we have been able to handwrite 702 note cards that have been since been sent to prospective donors. It was truly a team effort. We were there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I thank you all so much for helping out with that project, and we are seeing funds coming in as we speak. Last time I checked, we think we had $4,600 currently pledged for the project. We have 2 more days where we'll see a lot more traffic coming. So we're hoping to reach $25,000 by the end of Thursday. This campaign is being organized under the Annual Day of Giving for Westfield State University, which will be run from Wednesday, March 22nd to the 23rd. I should please spread the word with your networks to help us exceed our results from last year. I was going to show you a video. You can see it at westfield.ma.edu/give. President Thompson gives a little speech. And there's also just a focus. Our theme this year is then and now. So I hope you all give a hoot by spreading the word for our Annual Day of Giving with your families, friends, colleagues, and networks. Put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, put it everywhere that you can. It's all very important. All funds raised benefit you, whether it goes to scholarships or athletics. It's very important that people do donate. It can give back to Westfield State University. So should you have any questions, please let me know.
Michaela Evans.
I just wanted to do this, I don't know how to use it, or still at like 7 o'clock, so I give you
Any further? Seeing none, thank you, Dan. Is there any new business? Seeing none, announcements. Chloe Savison.
just a reminder, if you are interested in any feedback, talk to us. We'd love to tell you all about them, so don't be afraid to come to.
Any further? Chloe Savison.
Westfield Wednesday, where you're Westfield.
And I'll start tomorrow.
Oh, give us a tomorrow.
Elizabeth Mercer.
Thank you. And then check your email for, like, Bart sent out email with the details and stuff. And then lessons at 6:45 next year.
Hickman. Michaela Evans.
59 days.
Roll call.
Michaela Evans, here. Kate Levin. Here. Eva Ashton. Here. Katie Ian. Here. Nicholas Smith. Here. Cynthia Allen. Isabella Mateo. Kayla Kane. Here. Kaylin Westcott. Here. Maggie Roberts. Here. Constantinos Gonzalez.
Here.
Christopher Landon.
Here.
Eric Hardy. Stephen Haynes.
Here.
Bo Black. Alexandria Amelio. Daniel Lyons.
Here.
Lucas Appel.
Scott Dillon, Dillon, how do you say his last name? Dillon, no, what is it? Long, oh, wow. Alright. Nick Palumbo.
Here.
Sarah Harrison. Here. Joseph Mania. Angela Hayes. Here. Justin Paul.
Here.
Jack Roy.
If there's no further business, I adjourn the meeting till March 28th. See you at house.
I gotta do that.